Yeah, all righty. Well, I don't see anybody at Estes, but I see somebody everywhere else. Well, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Start off by telling you that once again, we will not have class Thursday. Okay, this one was planned in the calendar. If you notice, we only have one chapter to go through this week. This week is our New Horizons Conference in Roanoke. There'll be a lot of us gone, so you may have some other classes canceling out Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
That conference is from Wednesday to Friday.
Wednesday to Friday, yeah. So
also said she would be out.
Yeah.
Free next 2 days.
Yeah, you might be free for the next 2 days. That's wonderful. So, we plan on covering everything on chapter 17 today, getting that over. We're on target. I did finish grading up everything that's been submitted for grading, so you can take a look at your homework averages now. I'm not planning on giving you any more homework. All we have left is the final test, which is just another test. So we are winding down things pretty quickly here. So
you said next Tuesday we'll do chapter 18.
Next Tuesday is 18. Yes. So we're in pretty good shape in here, and I scrolled and looked at the final averages so far, and for the most case, grades are looking really good. There's a couple people that probably want to do a really good job on this last test to eke up their grade from like C to a B or something like that, you know. So try your very best on the next test, and we'll be done with this pretty soon. So, and remember, that does not include extra points for perfect attendance. So if you've had perfect attendance, that'll get added on at the end too. So yeah. Okay. So we're going to look at the controlling function today. Let's see how I do with the share screen thing, and we'll hope for the best here. All right, I do have week 14 pulled up. Oh, good. Okay, so this is the last of our functions in the groups of functions that we've had. So we've conquered every one except the last one, which is the controlling function. One thing I do want to mention to you all is remember that the word controlling in here is not, we're not trying to emotionally control anybody or anything like that. We're controlling things as far as our business operations go, and we're monitoring and making sure that things are being accomplished, or if they're not, what kind of feedback it would take to actually change things in the future. So this is the first of these. You might notice that in the overview there it says planning and controlling are really inseparable functions under here. They're not referred to sometimes as the Siamese twins of management because they go hand in hand. Planning was one of our first functions, and now we are looking at the last of them, controlling. So kind of have circled all the way back to the beginning again. Okay, so let me get to our materials here. We're going to take a look at our video first and see, just set the pace a little bit about the function, and then we'll look at our PowerPoints there. Hopefully this is going to show up okay.
Sam, the manager of TQM Auto Repair Shop, recently set goals for his business. First, Sam must establish standards or a set of requirements for his business. Sam is working on the first step, establishing standards to measure performance. Sam wants to make $100,000 more this year than he did last year, so he can replace older equipment in the repair shop. Raising the price of repairs can do this. This is the financial goal. It's important not to take customers for granted. A goal to increase customer satisfaction from 84% last year to 90% this year is set. Customer service satisfaction must increase by 6% this year. This is a customer service related goal. And sets a goal to increase the quota or a goal set for production for the amount of cars each mechanic must repair each week. With all of the new goals Sam set for the repair shop over the past week, employees may not be able to keep up with the workload. But over that, Sam must devise a way to measure the productivity and performance of his employees. Or the preset standards. Once he evaluates the information, Sam can provide feedback to each employee and help them make improvements to their work. This is employee performance appraisal. Sam developed the standard for what he would like to accomplish in the above step. Now, whether the goals are being met. Sam creates a new pricing guide, a customer satisfaction survey, a sales quota system, and an employee evaluation system. Measuring actual performance. Sam will present the new pricing guide to employees. He explains his plan for raising much needed revenue to each employee so the employee understands the reason for the price increase. Include employees in setting goals. If Sam's employees understand the reason for the price increase, they will be more likely to buy into the goal. Sam also introduces the customer satisfaction survey to his customers. Customers will fill out the survey where they will rate their experience based on many factors. Quality of work, price, friendliness of mechanics, and ease of payment. Sam also has to develop a way to measure how many cars are being repaired by each mechanic on a weekly basis to be sure that the amount of repairs done weekly add up to the desired goal of increasing revenue by $100,000 set forth above. Mechanics do a repair quota system. Mechanic must fix 10 engines, patch 5 tires, and replace 15 windshield wipers each week. That means that each mechanic must bring in about $280 in revenue each week to reach the goal. The toughest challenge for Sam will be to introduce the employee appraisal system. This is a system that involves the employees setting goals for themselves and Sam setting goals for the employees. Criteria for acceptable performance will include sales quota system, reliability, motivation, and absenteeism in the appraisal. We will sit down with each employee. Setting goals for themselves, they are much
I don't
more
think it's
likely
that.
to achieve the goal.
It's not that.
As time goes
It's
by,
same.
Sam needs to monitor the process to be sure it is working. Statements each month to be sure he is on target for his financial goal of increasing revenue. And also customer satisfaction surveys each week. He documents the percentages in his spreadsheet. He compares each survey percentage change with that of the previous year to determine whether there are positive changes in customer satisfaction. Sam reviews the daily and weekly receipts to determine whether the mechanics are meeting their quota set above. He documents the various work done by He compares this to the standard he set in the first step. Finally, Sam needs to be sure that employees are meeting their goals set in the employee appraisal. While this cannot be done as frequently, like counting receipts or crunching numbers, it can be done every 6 months to a year. When the time comes, Sam will sit down with each employee on an individual basis to discuss progress towards the goals they set together. He will compare the actual progress towards the standard set for each employee. There is no doubt that some of the actual performances will fall short of the standards set in the first step. When this occurs, Sam will have to make important decisions. He will make changes in the way things are being done. In other words, he will be taking corrective action. For instance, if Sam determines that the price increases are causing customer satisfaction percentages to plummet, he will need to restructure pricing or change the level of service. Maybe it is as simple as providing customers with a free lunch while they wait. It could be that Sam will have to decrease prices to retain customers. He may even have to look for new customers. Sam may determine that employees just cannot keep up with the quotas. Sam will have to revisit the quotas. Perhaps the shop needs to be reconfigured so employees can maneuver around the cars more efficiently. Perhaps Sam needs to discipline mechanics that are not keeping up with the pace. Whatever decision Sam makes, he will have to go back to the drawing board and begin the controlling process all over again.
Okay, kind of ended quickly there, but
Don't forget to stop the video.
yeah, I am as soon as I can get to the thing there.
What?
Okay, so looking at the, I know that was a little cartoon, but there were a lot of good points that were brought up in that. Starting with goal setting, which is part of your planning process. You can't really control or do the controlling function until you have some goals to measure your performance by. So let me see if I can get our PowerPoint up here. Back to stop share. And share screen. Let's see if it comes up. Okay, hopefully everybody has the PowerPoint there. We'll see.
I don't think it's gonna pull up that screen for them. It's just gonna show the main PowerPoint.
It's just going to show this one.
Yes, ma'am.
All
If you want
right.
them to see the other one, you may have to reset the share.
Okay, so let's stop share and okay.
I miss the old days when this didn't exist.
Up one.
This one.
Yeah. There you go. Now, you select the that window.
Put
Just
my-
have to- yeah, and then you can use your shortcut keys.
Okay, so they're seeing this one too. Okay,
It should be.
okay, and next is N and previous is P. See, I'm learning. Okay. All right, so we're going to actually define what control is. I've kind of told you about that a little bit, what it wasn't anyway. And then we'll look at the process and the difference between power and control. And we will look at information and information systems and how important they've become to the control process for our management these days. So again, as I was saying, that little video, even though it was a cartoon, had quite a bit of information packed into it, starting with our planning portion, setting some goals so that we know what our what we expect to happen in the future. And again, controlling is going to measure the actual performance against those goals to see how well we've done and make some corrections if necessary. Okay, now people tend to think of controlling as just being things like performance appraisals and dealing strictly with the employees, but there could be many, many other things involved in the controlling function, like you saw there, the mechanics having to actually change the way the cars are placed in the shop to make things run smoother or whatever. So what we're doing in the control function is we're making sure that any event that's involved in our organization occurs as it was planned to occur. So there's that tie-in with planning again. So what we are looking for as a manager is we're looking for what is being planned is not actually happening. And that's where we need to jump in and correct that situation for the future. The controlling, and I'm sorry about the feedback. I don't seem to be able to correct that here. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but the controlling process is going to involve people, of course, but also money, raw materials, and machine. So all four of those are inputs into the organization. As you can see, all these little things are going back and forth to each other. So we begin by measuring performance, and we're comparing that to our standards. And of course, if they are significantly different, we end up taking corrective action as well. So don't think of controlling as being a punishment. It's really a way that you're actually improving things for the future. I think of the money part of it a lot. People tend to think of that as being a punishment. Ever put yourself on a budget and then you find out that you didn't stick to that budget? Don't think of that as a punishment for you. What that is doing is just revealing where you have differed from where you had planned. And you can take correction and corrective action. I can remember the first time I actually monitored where I was spending my money, and I found out I was spending a heck of a whole lot more than I thought that I had planned for in certain areas. My bad one is going out to eat. Okay, I planned a certain amount of money for food. And no, it's not that I'm eating more, it's that I'm just not making more the choices that are the most inexpensive, which would be cooking at home a lot more often. I'm guilty of, after a long day, just not wanting to cook anything. And I live by myself. Cooking for one seems like a waste of time and energy. So I just stop by that restaurant on the way home and pick up something. So, and I found out, wow, my choice doing that was really throwing me off on my budget. So I didn't really punish myself for that. I didn't go on a diet or anything, but I did start making a little more conscious efforts about how much I was going out. Or if I found out, okay, this is what life's going to be like, I revised my budget to incorporate more going out to eat and took away from something else. You know, maybe I cut back on my entertainment or whatever. Yeah. So hopefully it was nothing detrimental that I cut back on. Okay, so the first step is to measure current performance in order to be able to make those decisions about how things can be more effective. Lots of things to measure when it comes to being a manager. Looking at your profitability, your market position, productivity. I mean, a lot of those were listed in that little cartoon video. They talked about guy's name that owned the mechanic shop.
Sam.
All right, he had set himself a goal to make, was it $100,000 more than what he made before? Okay, so that profitability. He also had mentioned goals about how many cars were being repaired, as being some standards there. Product leadership standards, personnel development standards, employee attitude standards. And then social responsibility standards as well. So lots of things that, and anything that's called a standard, that means what we expect or what we want to happen. All right, so we measure what actually happens against those standards, and that's when we have to take corrective action. Bring that performance up to where your standards were. Recognizing any problems along the way. There may be something that pops up, like with the mechanic. He found out that a certain number of cars that he expected to be repaired weren't getting repaired, so he research to figure out what to do to correct that action, and part of it had to do with the actual layout of the repair shop.
You saw that I keep on pointing out, you sure you put this, you sure you put that? People don't read.
He's just already talking.
Huh?
He's just already talking.
Yeah, I hear somebody talking, but if you're talking to me, I can't understand you. Okay, now power, see that link to control here. Power involves the extent that someone has the ability to influence others so that they respond to orders. Okay? I have power over you in this classroom because I say, do homework assignment number so-and-so on page whatever. Okay?
It has to be done by Sunday.
Yeah, right. I give you the orders and you should respond to them. Does everybody respond to them? Of course not. So, but the greater the ability to influence, the more power an individual is said to have. If the vice president came in and gave you, vice president of the college came in and gave you a directive for you to do something, that person has more power than I do to direct you. Okay. Total power is made up of two different pieces of power, positional power and personal power. Now, I would think that the vice president of this school has positional power. That's the actual position that person holds. It gives them power to be able to see, say, and do lots more, just simply because they have that position. Now, on the other hand, I would think that I would have more personal power with you all because I'm the one that has developed a relationship with the classroom. So you may listen to me because of my personal power. You might say to yourself, well, I'm not going to do what the VP tells me to do just because she's the VP. She doesn't even know me. She hasn't been in class all semester. Okay, so it's the combination of the two kinds of power that actually give the total power that the manager has. All right, so if you want to increase your power as a manager so that you're able to influence other people, you want to develop some of these attitudes and beliefs in your organization. You need to have your workers, your employees feel that there's a sense of obligation to you. They have to feel that they should be doing what you want them to do. And they also should think that the manager has significant level of expertise. I saw some of the comments on the assignment y'all did with the performance appraisal where y'all said some errors could be made in that the person given the appraisal really didn't know what the worker was doing in their job. So it didn't look like they had the power to tell them they were doing a good or a bad job because they didn't really know the job, period. So you all kind of seem to understand that one. But you need to have some type of identification with the manager and a perception that you depend on that manager if you need some additional instructions or training or whatever. Okay, so to make your control successful as a manager, you need to focus in on specific organizational activities. Have different kinds of organizational goals. You don't have the same goals for every single activity in the organization. If you're going to make corrective action, do it in a timely manner. You don't want to, oh, we've got a problem here. We'll think about that a year from now. You need to work on that right away. And then the communications of the mechanics of the control process. It's so much better when your workers understand why you're doing what you're doing and communicating to them rather than just doing it.
I love going in there and looking, and I would love to.
Hallway, I think.
I heard something, and that's about all I heard. So, you know, these Zoomed classes, I have so many control items I would like to offer up for these classes because they sound like they're going to be wonderful situations, but the tools don't always work. And I'm going to communicate that when that's over with. So there's my communication of corrective action to you all. Not that anything will be done immediately, but I don't see this going away. So I think it will be here. Okay, in doing your control, you are going to have to collect data, facts, and statistics. You have something to measure against your standards. You'll also collect a lot of information that might not be numerical. You can have details about the projects or the conclusions that you've gotten from the data. You can make a set of conclusions from analyzing the data. The value of information, though, depends upon the benefit that it actually gives you. Too much information sometimes just clogs the communication pipes and nothing ever gets done. So the information needs to be appropriate, of good quality, timely, and the correct quantity of information for it to be valuable. You all know from day one that my philosophy is kind of the KISS approach, the keep it simple, stupid approach when it comes to things. I'm one of these people that tell me what I need to know. And it's nice to develop a relationship with you all, but too much information is not necessary. Okay. If I asked, I expect information. Like, if you communicate with me and say, I'm not going to be in class this week because my significant other has some surgery scheduled and I'm going to be there with them during that class. Okay, well, that's great. And I appreciate that information, and that's useful information. It certainly helps me understand why you're not here. But unless I specifically ask, oh, what's going on, or is there anything I can do to help or whatever, I don't need to know that your significant other is having a specific type of surgery for something, and that Dr. So-and-so says he's got a real good chance of recovering fully, and all that kind of stuff. That's more information than necessary. Now, if you and I are just having a general chat out here in the hallway, you want to tell me that, that's fine. That's fine. But make sure it is appropriate information. So the relevance of your information to the decision-making situation gives us this little chart here. It tells us about the characteristics of information and what type of operational control takes place to help you with your strategic planning. Some of it is very current, some of it's historical information, some of it comes frequently, some of it comes from the outside, some from the inside. Much of it will help you do things on a very wide basis strategically and plan for the future, whereas others don't give you much planning opportunity in the future as well. All right, your quality of your information is how well it actually represents reality. Okay, the closer the information you get represents reality, then the greater the value of that information. Our mechanic got information by doing a survey with the customers, finding out what they felt about the repairs. Okay, if that survey is really representative of what's going on, then it has a high representation of reality and it's very useful. If, however, the only people that responded to the survey were the ones that complained, then that's not reality and it may not be information that you can act on. So that's why surveys can be misused a lot of times. They can not be actual representations of the entire population. So when you receive the information can also help you with planning for the future and taking corrective actions as well. Of course, the more timely it is, then the better off it is. I don't need to find out 6 months from now that question 25 on the last test was graded incorrectly. I need to know now so I can take corrective action and adjust your grades for it. The mechanic needed to know now that such and such, or Bob, was his name Bob again? I lost. Okay, he needed to know that such and such mechanic was not doing a good job right then and there, not 6 months down the road when he's paid him salary for 6 months and gotten more and more complaints. Okay, and again, the quantity of information was the one that I was mentioning earlier, that information overload is when you simply have too much information to consider it properly. It just makes you reluctant to make a decision at all. All right, this is a flow chart of evaluating information to see if it is the right quantity, the right quality, the right timeliness, and so on. Just again, a flow chart way of looking at what we've already looked at. Yeah, this is your favorite part, I'm sure. Information systems. People forget what that term means. Information system. It's not just computers. Look what it's the first word, information. It's providing information. It happens to frequently be associated with computers because computers have made it so that our information is available much more quickly and much more accurately than in the past. So technology is the equipment and processes used in performing your work. And IT, information technology, is technology that's focused on using that information in the performance of your work. These are 6 steps necessary to operate an information system properly. You need to find out what your needs are as far as your organization goes and how you're going to gather that data, summarize it, then analyze it, transmit the information, And finally, use it. Don't forget the last step, using it. I've seen lots of cases where companies are really good about collecting information and even analyzing it, but then they don't use it for anything. So make sure that last step takes place. Different kinds of information and how these managers would actually use them. Top management, like your president, your CEO, and so on, they are looking for profit, survival of the firm. The information is usually dealing with trends and summaries. They don't really want the details, and they're using it to establish policies and objectives and make decisions on the total company. Middle management and first line managers are going to use information systems a little differently. Middle management, they're more concerned about allocating resources, helping to establish plans and so on. They want just summaries and exception reports. When something is an exception report, that means they only show where things are out of filter rather than those that are on target. And they're using that to develop operating plans and policies and make decisions related to other middle managers and so on. First line managers, they are, again, looking at some summary reports, but getting into more details, looking at control procedures and actions related to first line managers. Often responding to requests from higher level managers who want to know additional information. So information center systems become effective when the quality and the quantity of the information is good enough to satisfy the user. That's when we say it is effective. All righty. So, stop that share. Okay. So controlling, trying not to look at it as a punishment, look at it as a way to make things better. Okay. And use lots and lots of tools available to you, including information systems that can provide data and analyses in a much quicker time frame than we've ever gotten in the past. But don't overlook things like surveys and just regular communications and performance appraisals with your employees, because they will certainly help you make corrective action as well. If I looked only at the grades on the test, that would give me a piece of information to make corrective actions in the future. But I also listen to what you all have to say, read your homework responses, communicate via email, look at the pass-fail rates, that kind of stuff, to get more information to take corrective action for the future. So, anybody have any questions about anything? You remember, no class Thursday, okay? No class Thursday. I won't be in South Boston for you guys. No one will have class, but this is the only chapter you're doing this week, so it shouldn't be too bad. You can still email me if you need me. I will be in a series of seminars and lots of information, and this is like our best conference. We get all the new updates. We talk with our publishers. We look at different books. We have all kinds of new tools available to us, and we all also get to go away with each other and have a heck of a good time if necessary. It's one of those, what happens in New Horizons stays at New Horizons kind of things.
Do you have homework?
Excuse me?
Do we have homework?
No other homework other than your reading. That's it. We're done with homework in here. Okay, but I have graded everything, so it's all available for you. You can go back and take a look at any grades and let me have. Don't wait until the day before class is over with and say, I should have gotten such and such a grade, because I won't have a lot of time to deal with that. So look those over. And other questions? All right, I'll put this recording up, and I will see you all in 1 week. Have a good partial week then.